you have to do what makes you laugh, right? Because yeah, because it's your performance for you. It doesn't really matter if other people laugh or not. And Stushkovas are always embarrassing. Always embarrassing. You look back and you look back in 5 or 10 years after you do it, and there's always that Stushkova video, which which you you want to take all the copies of it and dig a big hole in the garden and throw the copies in and then cover them with the dirt and pretend they all disappeared. But no, the very you bring home a boyfriend, the very first thing your parents do is they, oh, has she told you about our Stushkova video? And the very first thing they do is like, oh, you have to watch the Stushkova video, it's so good. And it's just the most embarrassing thing ever in human history because parents have a different perspective. It's a parents thing. It's unavoidable. Um, to parents, their children are always 5 years old. It doesn't matter how old you are; you're always five. So it doesn't matter. I'm 40, 41 now, and my mother still talks to me like I'm five. I'm like, Mom, please, you don't have to explain. It's okay. I understand. Oh, I'm just good at, yeah, I know. I know you don't need, never mind. This is like the same conversation for 20 years. Don't mix like that, you mix like this. It's the other way around. Yeah, or do you know where you put your shoes? Well, put my shoes. Put my shoes where I always put my shoes. Yes, but look at them. So they're not exactly in a line with all the other pairs of shoes. I'm sorry. Right. So, whatever. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's it's like, do I tell you to clean up your room? Yeah, well, don't. Yep, yep, okay. That's true. That's true. But uh, I'll clean it up when the time is right. No, clean it up now. But I'm tired now. But I got home at 3 a.m. now. What if the Pope comes to our house? We will be so embarrassed because your socks are on the floor. Oh my God. So, something like, yeah, you always have to be ready for those unexpected visitors that never come. Yeah, the strange, unexpected visitors that parents are waiting for that never arrive. It's a yeah, yeah. I think we all experience that. It's a common experience. Yeah, yeah. What if what if the government comes to inspect our house to see if it's clean enough? So and it doesn't help. Knowing that doesn't help because it doesn't change anything. It doesn't help because you still have to do everything that you have to do, right? So you know, knowing knowing that there's knowing that there's a clock doesn't make doing the things you have to do any easier. You just know that there's a clock and that's it, and there's time, but I still have to do everything I have to do. So yeah, I think that's one of the good processes of the organization of a Stushkar. The idea that everyone has to try to agree, and it's just impossible. It is impossible, and that's what you have to learn from there. That's the learning point. The learning point is not possible. Somebody has to take charge. Somebody has to take control. Somebody has to make decisions. People are going to be unhappy. Welcome to the real world. So you cannot keep all of the people happy all of the time. We can't even keep ourselves happy sometimes. How can we keep other people happy? So, yeah, that's something that we learn. Yeah, that's another great learning point, which is that being right or wrong doesn't matter. in that situation. You can be right, but if you're alone, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. You don't win. You don't win. And yeah, well, you either have to persuade people who are less intelligent than you that it's better for them to follow you. The only way to do that is to make promises, which you probably can't keep, so it's kind of pointless. People only do things. We can look at the key motivations. There is a start point, there is an action or activity, and there is an end point. People begin things for one of two reasons. They love something, or they fear something. These are the two reasons that motivate us all. I'm eating ice cream because I love ice cream! Or I'm paying my taxes because I don't want to go to prison. Well, those are classic examples. But we start to do something because we enjoy it, or we fear the consequences. We study a subject because we love the subject, or we will fail in school. If we don't, we will not get a qualification, we will not get to university, we will not get a job, and we will end up doing drugs under a tree in a park. If we're lucky. Or we end up being criminals because we have to steal things to sell them to get the money to buy the drugs. Anyway, so love and fear are the initiators of activity. But these are beginning points. And through the process of the activity, these reasons for starting something go into the background and they begin to fade away. Ask people why they started doing things. People can't even remember yesterday, never mind why they started doing something, right? So as they travel through this process of doing something, an activity, what then becomes important is a result or a reward. So what this means is that as we go through the activity, we start to forget about the past and look towards the future. And at that point, we are looking for something at the end, a result which gives us an advantage or a reward, something we will have. So the result might be you get a qualification at the end of your study. It's very similar to reward. The rewards might be that because of this you can find a job. Or you don't see a difference. Don't see a difference. Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They're bad words to use in this example. What I mean is something that will be waiting for you when you get here, and that's what you want, or something that you can take and do something with. So maybe getting to the end point will be the result that you want. Take
Isn't the result the first step and reward the second step?
That's a good way to look at it. There are many ways to look at that. That works very well. Yeah, think about a process. You can choose any process. Running a marathon, for example, right? So you want to do it because you love challenge. You might also want to do it because you fear what will happen to your body if you don't stay healthy, and you need some kind of external motivation because you don't have the internal motivation. Essentially, love is an internal motivation and fear is an external motivation. So you train and you prepare and you practice, and you got this marathon, and you got training and you practice, and then you plan to do the marathon. So you get to the end, the result could be, I've done it, and I just feel exhilarated and really happy because I finished the marathon. Or it could be the reward that I've done that, and this will get me to the next step. This will get me to the next level.
I will be better the next time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We use this as a step to get to the next step. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe you get what you want, and so the whole process finishes, and you go and do something else. Or maybe you take what you have at the end and you use it to go and do the next part of the activity. But usually, people are somewhere between here and here when they're doing something. They started it because they're initiated by love or fear, and as they get further and further away from the start and closer to the end of the activity, this result or reward becomes the reason or point for finishing. As I said, people often forget why they started something. And so as they get further away from this becomes less important. And as they get closer to this becomes more important at the end. And so we're always somewhere on this scale, and when we understand this, we can look at our own motivations, and we can look at what is waiting for us in the future, and what are we going to do with it. As long as we know that we're in the process of doing something, then we can say, okay, the aim is the result, getting to the end, or the aim is that this is part of a series of processes. Because a lot of people just sort of drift through life. Well, now we get back to the point that we were talking about before, is that you talked about persuading people. Well, persuasion doesn't function without reward. Nobody will do something for nothing. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does make sense, right? Nobody will do something for nothing. But everybody will do anything for something. I always come back to prostitution. It's just the most classic example, right? Of the most silly and stupid thing that I can think of, where people do something which is essentially quite silly and stupid, so that they can have something, so that they can do the same thing again, which is silly and stupid. It just goes round in a circle, and they never escape. If you're going to work to pay for something so that you can go to work, you're not going to get very far. You're just trapped in the same cycle constantly. So people are not going to follow you unless there's some benefit for them. Even if you're right. That's just the way that it works. I've met this conflict and this problem my whole life. But everyone always goes this way, and I'm always going the other way. Why does nobody follow me? It's because, well, I'm not offering any rewards to anybody. I'm not promising that this is going to save your life. So you look at marketing and advertising, what other schools do, and what other, the little speeches they give and what they tell. Oh, you're going to need this in the future. This is absolutely essential. I'm like, well, it might be useful. Don't know. So this is so without that incentive, without the carrot in front of the donkey doesn't move. So if you ask the donkey to move, you say, "Donkey, move!" Donkey's like, or whatever noise donkeys make. Donkey, move! But you just put the carrot out and the donkey will go all by itself. So the question is in fact the wrong question. The question you're asking yourself is, how do I persuade them? It's not going to work. You can't. It can't be done. The question is, what can I offer them as an incentive or as a reward or as a motivation for them supporting me or for them following me? Now, in some cases it's something physical, in some cases it's something psychological. Status, friendship, leadership, position, authority, power, information. All these things mean something to some people. Call this leverage. A lever which moves something, when it's put in the right place, in the right position, with the right leverage, you can move anything. How do you do that? You find out what people want. How do you do that? You can actually ask them. As crazy as it sounds, you can actually ask them. I'll never forget this story that I learned. That story was told to me years and years and years ago. My mother worked in the PE department, physical education department, with another teacher. And it was this other teacher's wife was telling the story. She was telling the story about she was at teacher training university. And they send you into schools to teach for a week, and they send teachers to watch you teaching, and they assess you. They give you some results. And so this woman was in school teaching, she was on her teacher training, and they gave her the worst classes to teach. You know, the classes where the students don't listen. Now, it's bad in a normal classroom. Think about what it's like in physical education. You've just all the kids running around the hall, and you're just trying to keep control of them. There's basketballs kind of bouncing everywhere, and 20 kids and 20 basketballs, and it's just chaos. So she had the worst class in the school, and she knew that a teacher from her university was going to come to her school that day and was going to watch her teach that class. Now, she understood that you change behavior with incentives, not by asking a person, hey, change. That doesn't work. So she found the class, and she took out of the class the 3 worst students in the class. And she said, look, I got this problem, right? Someone's coming to my class. They're going to do this assessment of my class, and I might pass or fail university as a result of this. It's really important for me. Now, it's my opinion that you guys control the class. What you do, everyone else does. You're the leaders. She said, I need that class on that day to go perfectly. Tell me what you want. She said, nobody will know. She said, just tell me what you want. Whatever you want is yours. I need that class to be okay. It's only 60 minutes. You come in for 60 minutes. You do everything that I tell you to do. Everybody will follow you. Everything will work. And you just tell me what you want. It's yours. I need this. And they said, I think the story was that they said they wanted some cigarettes. So she went and bought cigarettes for them. She gave them a big pack of cigarettes. Said, there's the cigarettes. Said that was it. She went into the class. She taught the class, and all the regular teachers were like, their mouths were wide open. They couldn't believe that everybody was listening. They couldn't believe that everybody was doing exactly what she said. never seen this before. But she understood that for these people, the system had no incentive, had no reward. It wasn't giving them anything that they wanted. So she went to them and asked them, okay, what do you want? What do you want? And she got it. She gave them what they asked for. She gave them what they. It's like, oh, it's not only is it not very educational, it's not very healthy to give them cigarettes, but that's what they wanted. And you can't very easily alter a person's fundamental desires if that's what they really want. It's who they are. It's what they really want. So, it is one of the only ways to solve that problem with leadership and support is to offer things. How does the government get people to vote for them? How does the government get people to vote for them? It offers them things. Yeah, look, here's yeah. They make promises, they keep some of them, they don't keep other ones. But I'll tell you what happens. People get through a series of corrupt systems, people get elected to represent political parties. The very first thing they do after they get elected is they go to everyone who helped them and said, what do you need? And I know this because I've heard many stories about this here in this town. Yeah. People who get elected and then they go back to everyone who helped them and they say, okay, what do you need?